Hello there, my name's Paul Ward, and welcome to this short and brief webinar where I want to introduce to you my new personal development program that I've named the Blacktop Method. Now, the Blacktop Method is named as such because my business is called Blacktop Coaching. And this is an introduction to a method that I've put together following many years of personal coaching one-to-one in teams, working with businesses, as well as my training as a certified trainer of neurolinguistic programming and also a trainer of a tool called Motivational Maps. And what I've done is I've looked to amalgamate all those different aspects of what I do and how I've helped many clients over the years, business owners, people in work, people in career transition, people who are looking to develop their relationships in all different manners, and actually looked at a way in which I can bring all that to one program where I can help people make lasting change at a deep level that actually lasts, that actually sticks. So what I want to do is just take you through the program and share with you some of the key points throughout. Now, I'm not going to apologize for the fact that most of this is just simply on PowerPoint, but I think it just highlights and punctuates everything that is going on in the world at the moment. Is just pointing towards us, looking inwards to take an opportunity to work on our own personal development. And with that in mind, I just want to put the question out there is why now? Why is it so important for us to be thinking about how we turn up in the world? Now, you may be listening to this as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, or someone who's currently in work thinking about making a transition in your life. And there's a very good chance that you almost feel, you know how it feels sometimes when you are kind of stuck at a junction. You kind of know that there is something else out there and you want to be taking a step, but you're just not sure. And then when you look around, you kind of notice there's a lot of bad news out there. There's a lot of negativity out there. Almost in every direction you look at the moment, we're being told that actually we're moving into the most difficult time any of us have ever experienced. I take a slightly different view because, of course, we've just come out of a pandemic. And although that was awful for many people, it was also a great opportunity for people to really understand where they're coming from and start to really evaluate themselves in terms of their own direction of moving forward. Now, if we were able to do it then and move ourselves forward, then surely now is also an opportunity for us to be able to focus in on what it is we really want. Now, so many businesses start and fail, so many of them, and I guess there's lots and lots of reasons for that, but so often it's people who have this wonderful idea, this dream to be able to run their own business, take it forward and make a living out of it. So it becomes almost like a lifestyle business. So it's serving them to lead the lifestyle that they want to lead. But without a clear goal in place, without some clarity about where they're heading, so often those dreams, those businesses that started with such energy and enthusiasm end up failing. This also includes the personal development industry. There are so many people, we see it so often. I'll come to it later in the presentation. Those people on social media that are promising us to be able to transform our lives within minutes of signing up to a certain course. They're kind of failing us, aren't they? So I want to explore that as well as we go through the webinar. But let's move forward now. Because like I say, I talk to lots and lots of different people in lots of different situations at business networking, in my training courses, just simply interacting with people in a business situation. And once I get past what it is that they do, I often hear these kind of phrases coming out from people where they're saying to me, do you know what, things are going really well, because we hear that in networking, don't we? And I think we've all been in those situations where we're amongst our peers and people say to you, how's business? And you want to be positive, you want to respond with a great answer. But once you dig down a little bit more, I'm hearing this. I'm hearing that people feel blocked. I'm hearing that people are just struggling to move from where they are currently to where they want to be. And also I hear this second phrase on the screen here, that I know what I want to do. I kind of know where I want to be. I see other people succeeding. I want to be like them. I also hear people saying, do you know what it is? I work so hard and I seem to be pushing against things all the time. And yet people in a similar business to me are taking holidays. They're off playing golf. They're off enjoying time with the family. And I seem to be 24/7, constantly working hard at my business. almost to the point where it's almost back to like being a job. So I know what I want to do, but I'm not doing it. And then people end up falling out of love of what they're doing. And that's another reason why so many of these businesses are failing, because people had this dream and now they're falling out of love, and the energy, the motivation, the clarity of their vision has kind of been shattered. So if you're here now listening to this, I'm telling you straight off that you're in the right place. Because of my 10 years in coaching and training in the personal development industry, I want to be able to pull out all those areas in which I feel there's an opportunity for us to make deep integrated change, to make things stick. So imagine if you were in a situation where you now had a choice to create a clear path to be able to simply get out of your own way. So imagine that just for a second, if you were able to make a choice after listening to this webinar, to be able to make a first step towards the future vision of yourself. Now, I've introduced a little bit about myself, but I want to talk a bit now about what it is that I do and how I help people. So although I could have put all the information up on the screen here about his testimonial, but I'd rather tell this in a story. So 2 or 3 years ago, I was working as a coach. I was doing some extra work as an associate coach with a company that I'd partnered with, and I was introduced to a client who was a general practitioner, a GP. And at the time, he was doing well. He was just about to become a father, lots of other stuff going on in his career, in his life. But he had some exams that he needed to get through, and I worked with him to help him with his state, in regards to his revision, in regards to preparing himself for his exam. And we had a number of sessions together, and we parted. And lo and behold, I discovered that yes, everything went well with his exam, and he passed. About 18 months later, 2 years later, he contacted me again. And although everything was going as planned within his career, his whole life seemed to have been kind of taken a back step, really. And he was noticing that he wasn't as fit as he wanted to be, he wasn't as healthy as he wanted to be. A second child had appeared on the scene, so he's now a father of two. He's got a wonderful house, a wonderful wife, a wonderful career, yet he just did not feel fulfilled. A familiar story with so many people that I come in contact with that then end up feeling extremely guilty because they've got all this stuff, they've got all this wonderful opportunity around them, and then they start comparing themselves to other people who don't have the same as what they have, and this guilt just pushes in and drives away at them, and it sucks away that motivation. And this is when I started working with this client again. This time it was actually to take them through the process of the blacktop method. And we started simply by trying to work out what it is that this person wanted, what it is this client wanted, where they wanted to be. And at the time it was difficult, because when you're in those spaces where actually everything seems to be pressing against you, guess what? It's very difficult to imagine what it might be like if you were able to break through. But we did that work. We understood where we wanted to be. And I pushed the client into a situation of writing down where they wanted to be, creating that vision for their future. And over a period of 6 months, we then understood exactly where he was at, where he was going, also had a more defined vision of who he was, a clearer idea of his purpose in life. His purpose to his work, purpose to his family, purpose to himself and what he owed to himself. And the guilt started to fade away at this stage. And he started making changes, positive changes in every area of his life. And when we concluded our sessions together, for now, because we will work together again, we were in a situation where the guy was fitter. He'd lost an awful lot of weight because he'd been out cycling with the family and cycling for himself, setting his own personal goals. He was having conversations with his employers to work out how he could then take the next step up into his career, but also starting another business where actually he was going to be following his passion, combining what he already does now with something that actually lights him up, fires him up, climbing mountains and leading expeditions and being able to do the two things hand in hand. It wasn't about giving something up. It was about combining everything that was going on in his life to create the absolute life that he wanted. And as I say, we will work together again because he's reached that point now and he's now living that life and moving forward. And when he gets to those stages where he's pushing himself even more, he'll want the help and support to be able to move to the next level. So that's the difference, and something that I will talk about a bit more about what happens afterwards. But throughout the rest of this webinar, these are the three core things that I'm going to share with you today. Why the coaching and personal development industry is failing you right now. Everywhere you look on social media, you will see somebody promising you they can change your life, which leads to the second aspect of how living in that instant gratification space is killing your future, because we're almost blinded by all these opportunities to the point where actually we don't even know what to choose, and always worry about if we choose the wrong one, well, what's going to happen to us then? Then want to share with you what the unique difference of using the blacktop method is and how it's making a difference to business owners today. So they're the three core elements of today's webinar. So let's explain a bit more about, well, who am I? Who is Paul Ward? Who is the creator of the blacktop method? My background, I'm not going to go through my whole life history here. We can do that another time. That's not a problem. But I want to keep this to the key points here. Now, I was one of those people who fell into a career earlier in my life. And in my early 20s, I started working in retail while I was exploring lots of different places to see where my future might be. And random jobs were different directions. So I joined the Merchant Navy, I worked in chicken factories, I dug up roads, all those sort of things, but kept coming back to working with people. And the retail career that I took on at that stage led me towards management. And it was in management I realized that I had a natural affinity of working with people. I understood what made people tick. And of course, in the retail industry, very challenging industry at all times, whether it's now or 20 years ago, always very tight margins and focusing on getting the best out of people to deliver great customer service required a flexibility of leadership skills that I developed over a number of years. And it was that love of understanding what made people tick that led me to an interest in personal development. And as I moved on from my retail career, I then took that to another level where I became trained as a motivational map licensed practitioner, which then I moved on to becoming a trainer of motivational maps. I also was fascinated about neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. So I took my interest to the next level and started attending some courses. I became an NLP practitioner. I then moved on to a master practitioner of NLP. And some 4 years ago, I became certified as a trainer of NLP. Now, that's been wonderful for me because that's been going on alongside where I've been developing my coaching business. So I'm helping people one-to-one, working with them one-to-one to be able to use the coaching process to help them overcome their blocks, overcome any limiting beliefs, overcome their sometimes the common belief of I'm just not good enough, to move them to the next level. And along the way, some people become very interested in personal development themselves. So I've then been able to offer them opportunities to come on training courses, to become NLP practitioners or public speaking experts or motivational mappers, because people, once they actually go on the personal development journey themselves, we kind of like to share it. We want to get it out there. We want to help other people take change. And there's been lots and lots of people in business owners that have used the coaching and the training to develop their leadership skills. So that's kind of me in a nutshell with regards to why I'm here now talking to you about the blacktop method and how I believe that amalgamating all my past history there, the management, the leadership, the personal development, the training, the coaching, the one-to-one work, the presentation work, to be able to put it all together and encapsulate it into this one program, the blacktop method. So let's move forward. So I did mention earlier the three core aspects of what I want to talk to you about today. And the first one is why the coaching and personal development industry is failing you now. Now, the thing is, one thing I noticed when I was just talking there about my past, where I was buying books, and I was interested in gorging myself on all the personal development books that I could find. And just as a recommendation, the first one I really, really got myself into was 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. Great book. But what I realized very early on is that actually all of that, it's kind of, you're investing into the books, you're investing into courses, you're investing your time, and you're tempted all of the time just to take a different direction into a personal development course or a book. But ultimately, actually what most personal development work is doing at the moment is a bit of a cookie cutter approach of just simply taking people, applying a program, sending you on your way. And that's where we seem to be falling down. That's where we seem to be running short. We take the opportunity to introduce people to a life-changing opportunity through a course or a program, and yet we don't follow through. It's almost as if all personal development is useless unless we take action. And sometimes taking that action is really, really difficult because, as I've seen, and I'm sure any of you who've been on courses have seen, once you leave on the final day, even if it's a one day, once you leave and you're on your way back, you're full of enthusiasm, you're full of energy, you want to make change. And then you're back out there in the wide open world and you end up back in your environment. And this is the challenge. Without the support, the ongoing support, the real detailed opportunity to follow through and apply the methods on which you have just been trained or introduced to, that actually when you go back into your work environment or your home environment or your life environment, things start to slip. Now, earlier this year, I was on a meditation retreat for 5 days, and it's absolutely wonderful. Not only because the people who took us through the process were excellent at what they did and talked to us about the philosophies behind what we were doing. We totally got it, but we were in a wonderful environment. We're near the Malvern Hills, and it was just the beautiful summer that we've just had. So everything about it was just absolutely superb. I drove away on that final day to go and collect my kids from school for a half-term holiday back into my environment. And I think you can imagine what happened to my nice, clear, meditative mind at that stage. And of course, it's really difficult at those points to be able to stay focused on doing the things that you know will make change. Luckily for me, because it was a Buddhist retreat, up the road from me is a Buddhist center, and I was able to continue going back to the Buddhist center on a weekly basis to maintain what I actually had gained from that the week's retreat that I was on. If I hadn't had that, my environment would definitely have taken me over to the point where meditation and all that clear mind stuff would definitely have gone out the window and been just something else that I've invested in that didn't stick. So what if you were to take one step today and just consider all of the personal development that you've been involved in up to this point, all the work that you've been investing into your growth, your personal development, to actually let go of so much of the noise that's out there and just think to yourself, right, I'm going to pick one. I'm just going to pick one that's going to make the single most difference to me for what I need. And of course, I'm hoping that will be the blacktop method, and I'm going to give you reasons as to why that will be as I explain the method further down the line today. But now let's just look at the second aspect, the second core aspect I want to talk to you about today. I think we all know this, but sometimes it's an opportunity just to reflect on it, that you're on this webinar today, or you've picked up on this webinar probably through some social media. And sometimes social media works really, really well for us. It's an opportunity for us to see what's going on out there, for us to be able to explore avenues and opportunities. It's been a wonderful tool for so many of us, and it opened up the world for us. The challenge is, though, we've kind of developed this I want it now, I want to have it now mentality. And we see it through, I'm going to just choose Instagram as an example, that when you flick through the amount of people who are telling us that they work 25 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's the only way that you're going to be able to succeed by working hard to get the things you want to get. We see people who are living a life, living their best life. Okay, so living your best life. Well, actually, yeah, we all want to live our best life, but actually, we all have one life. We want to live it now, but that instant gratification just eats away at us. If I'm not seeing results immediately, then I give up. And we end up with a trail of missed opportunities along the way because we dip our toe in and then move away. There'll be some people who've had an opportunity to be on a call like this today, but then chosen not to because they got distracted by something else. And we're constantly being distracted by new shiny things. I'm inviting you to take that one step the one step towards making a difference in your life, a difference in your business that will stick with you, and you can continue to use it as you grow and develop, not simply to move you on from where you are now to the next phase and then look for something else. It's a method that is able to be applied in so many different situations over a longer period of time. So you have to have an alternative. And that's what I want to provide with you with the Blacktop method. Because once we understand what needs to change, we've got to focus in a different way. We've got to do things in a different way. So the choice you have really is to take that one step. I'm going to come back to it, that you can take the alternative road in your business. You can take the alternative road in your life. You can take the alternative road in your career. And just think to yourself where that would lead you. I've talked to so many people that when I ask them, what is it you really, really want? When we get into that conversation, there's quite a narrow focus of where we think we should be. Because again, a great quote, comparison is the thief of joy, because we start comparing what other people are doing in the marketplace, what other people are doing in the similar industry to us, what other people are doing in similar careers or situations. And I would want to invite you to just take an alternative look. Look slightly off to the side, look slightly off to or above, down, below, wherever, but just simply take a different look. If you were to take that alternative road, where would that lead you? Well, I want it to lead you, of course, to the Blacktop method. But I want to just allow you just to spend some time thinking about the unique difference that I'm offering here, because so many other courses, as I mentioned earlier today, don't stick. And I'm actually going to include some of my own courses that I've delivered over the years as to an example of this, because I've been delivering NLP courses now for many years, and they are wonderful, and they make such a difference. And in the courses themselves, people transition, people transform. It's a wonderful privilege to see that happen. Those people who then decide to look for that alternative road once they leave the courses and go on to do amazing things. But so often we find that it doesn't stick. Now, it sounds like I'm kind of dissing my own courses here, but it's really about the NLP courses are very much about training people on how to do certain things, how to apply certain techniques. Changing lives within the courses is fantastic, and it does happen. It's the working with people afterwards will make the difference and allow all those tools and techniques and those transformations to stick. We talked earlier about environment, but this is the gap that I want to fill with the Blacktop method, to be able to take that transformation, take that transition, take that opportunity to change people's lives, for you to change your life, change your business, take that alternative road, but ensure that we've put all the milestones in place to make sure that it sticks to the point where actually you continue using a method that lasts throughout. So each new goal you set, each new process you go through, each change in your business or your career or your relationships can be seen through the filter of the Blacktop method to be able to help you consistently look for personal growth and development throughout the rest of your life. So I want to just pull you back again as to the example I gave you with the GP that I was working with. What did they do differently to succeed? What is it that my client did in that situation that many people don't do? Well, for a start, they weren't looking for that instant gratification. They weren't looking for a quick fix. They understood that actually it's about the effort they put in to make the changes. So that's what I want to work with people on. I want to have an opportunity to introduce the program, to start the change, start the process of change, and then work with people on the Blacktop method to take them to that next level. So you have two choices. At this stage, you have the choice of going it alone and continuing, as many people do, to make a great go at personal development through books, through podcasts, through online courses. All of it is great stuff. All of it will move you from where you are to where you want to be. But does it stick? Yeah, does it hold you accountable? Are you in a position where actually you will be able to make contact with people who are on the same course as you, the same direction as you, to be able to move you into that next space? You could either go it alone, or you could get totally out of your comfort zone, and do it with a cohort, do it with other people, and ensure that we're not just simply getting some quick wins. Quick wins are great, but we want quick wins to lead into lasting change. I also want to invite you to dig deeper. A lot of the Blacktop method is about really digging down to who you are. There's a lot of deep work, as well as the business, it's the guiding yourself to where you want to be. But actually, I want to let go of some stuff along the way, and to do that, we need to dig really deep. So I want to get into true long-term success with you, to become the future version of you, a phrase that we all hear all the time. Yeah, become the future version of you. But if you set goals now, then you are not the person who will be living those goals, because you're here now, you're not. We create goals and visions that are out of this world, to the point where actually you will need to become that person along the journey. So we need to work on you, and work on your goals, and work on your business. So we probably need to get into a level of detail now about the Blacktop method. So let me just introduce it to you. It's under 3 pillars, the 3 pillars being clarification, authentication, and creation. And I've bullet pointed here what actually happens under each of the 3 pillars. And I'll go into them in some detail in a second. But this is the process I want to take you through. So with clarification, we're understanding what it is you really, really want, where you're at right now, what's holding you back, what's stopping you, what's getting in the way. Authentication is about who you really are. Who do you really want to be? How do you turn up in the world? And being the true, authentic version of yourself, to be able to apply the Blacktop method so all possibilities become possible. Creation's about, now that we've decided what it is you want, who you are, what are you going to do with it? And creation is where the accountability really kicks in, to the point where actually, okay, right, okay, let's set these goals, let's move you forward, okay, and then let's make it happen. So the program itself is being launched in February. The date's on the screen there, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of February next year, 2023. And it's a 3-day live in-person workshop. And it's going to be fully immersive throughout the 3 days. And day 1's all about clarification. So let's touch on that now. So through the clarification process, we will be working out exactly what your direction is, creating that clear path to where you are heading. You'll be working as a group. You'll be working with others in that session, to be able to understand and challenge each other and be challenged. So you can absolutely define what it looks like when you are winning, because that's different to us all. We know that it's different to us all, but how many times have you said it out loud, exactly what you want, to know whether you are winning? I've asked that question to some people, and some people have said, I want to be comfortable. I want to challenge that. I want to see what comfortable really means. But if comfortable means living in a massive house and taking holidays and so on and so on, or does comfortable mean living in a 2-bedroom shack somewhere that actually I can really see nature around? Who knows? Who knows? It's unique to you. But underneath that, we want to find out exactly what your deeper purpose is that drives you every single day. And alongside that, we want to find out what your values are. So if your values and your purpose are aligned, we're going to be moving you in a very powerful direction. Also, to work on cause and effect. Because if we know where we're at, if we're looking at the world around us and just thinking, well, there's nothing we can do because of the situation I find myself in, we're living in effect. We want to get you at cause. We want you looking for solutions. We want you just developing that mindset where anything is possible, so that we can then realize your awesome potential, so that you can blaze your own trail. So that's day 1, clarification, the 6 modules that we will work through as a group in person, to understand and clarify exactly what it is that you want and the direction you're going in. Once we've done that, we then move to day 2, the 2nd of Feb. Day 2 is all about authentication. Day 2 is all about taking that direction and thinking to yourself, okay, there's a reason why we aren't there yet. There's a reason why I'm not that person. So I want to help you and work with you, and you will work with others to let go of that version of you that's been holding you back. This is where the deeper stuff kicks in. We need to understand exactly what it is that's been holding you back. There's a huge amount of honesty, trust, and vulnerability that comes in day 2. An opportunity for us to really challenge each other again, to be able to have high levels of honesty, Develop that wonderful phrase, psychological safety. Say whatever you want to know that it is this day, this one day, day 2 of the Blacktop method, where you will develop the right relationship with yourself. I've called that module ego because it's about actually, how we present ourselves to the world, how we turn up, how we show up, who we want to be when we are in front of others, who we want to be when we're in front of our clients. And in order to help that along the way, the deletion module, delete the attachment to any negative emotions to the past. We all carry a level of that. And there was one really successful person I was speaking to recently. For every question I asked him about how he's doing and where he's going, he related it back to his past. Was telling me that because of his upbringing, because of the situations he found himself in, because he saw his father struggling, he's not going to do that. And that was his driving force. Okay, that's a motivation that will take you to a certain space. But what we want to do is just let go of some of that negativity and think, okay, that's gotten me to where I am now. What is going to get me to where I need and want to be for the future? So if we can let go of the attachment to any negative emotions from the past, we will work on that on day 2. As part of that as well, I mentioned psychological safety. Often we don't turn up as our authentic self because we are nervous about, scared of, or fearful of judgment. And if we are fearful of judgment, there's a good chance that we're carrying a lot of judgment ourselves. So we will work together to reduce down that judgment. I'm a believer that we will never, as human beings, be in a situation where we have zero judgment. But moving towards a closer level to neutral judgment as possible means that we're going to be able to positively influence ourselves, the people around us that are meaningful to us, and our wider audience. And by doing this, of course, we are then creating that uniqueness as purely you. You will be standing up in that room, telling everybody exactly who you are, where you're going, what it is that you want to achieve, and doing it in such a way that you have a visceral connection to your future. Because you will indeed be celebrating the authentic you and singing your own tune. You can sing on the course as well if you wish. I'm not going to because I've been there and done it. And actually, it's your course, not mine. So if you want to sing, then absolutely. But you get my point. You get the singing to your own tune, not following others, being the person you want to be. So that's day 2, authentication. And on the 3rd of Feb, the 3rd day, the final day at this part of the Blacktop program, the final part that we will be working on together as a group in person, is now that we know where we're going and what it is we want, what winning looks like to us, we've got a clear idea of who the authentic version of ourselves is. And we've demonstrated that as part of the workshop, part of the course, day 2. We now want to know exactly what action you're going to take. What are you going to do to accelerate you towards your vision? How are you going to be held accountable for your own success? And that comes in the work that we will do together, as well as the commitments you make on that final day to the cohort you're working with, who will become your associates, holding you accountable, taking you to the next level. What is the first step you're going to take? Small step that will lead to giant strides. Once we know what that is, we can then understand what it is that is driving that, what it is that we need to have present in our life to continue to gain and grow that momentum. Understanding what motivates us, that changes all the time. When we're faced with different challenges, different things get affected in our motivation. There will be times when you, as you are growing to the person you want to be and creating that version of yourself, will be tasked with things that you're not naturally motivated by. And guess what? If you know exactly what's going on, that actually this is an area in which you do not feel naturally motivated, we can start making some choices to take some change in that situation, either by using other people or actually developing a system, a strategy that works for us. And by getting to this phase and moving it forward, I'm pretty sure that whatever it is that you end up with at the end of day 3 will already have evolved from day 1 in terms of your vision. So that exploration, that endless curiosity as to where this may lead, where this will take you. And this is the Blacktop method in its entirety, in terms of actually being able to use it again and again and again. Aspects of it will always be there for you to be able to move yourself and your business and your personal growth and development forward. So that's the 3 days that is going to be happening in February, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of February. There are limited spaces available. The simple reason for that is I want to give those of you in the room as much attention as possible. And if I have too many people in a room, I can't hear from everybody. I want to hear from everybody. I want to challenge everybody. I want everyone to be challenging to me as well. So I'm going to have limited spaces available for this workshop taking place in February. So just go through that again. So we have day 1, which is the clarification process, 6 modules. Day 2, the authentication process, 6 modules. Day 3, creation process, 6 modules. And included in that will be a live networking lunch, an opportunity for us to gather around the table to really celebrate where we're at. And there's a good chance there'll be some guests along the way, people who have been through the program, people who will be able to support us on the way in creating our business. There are access to a number of experts that will be able to come in to be able to offer their insight, their direction, to be able to help you make sure that we are held accountable from this point onwards, because these 3 days is just the beginning. You can see the cost of it. Your investment is 1,500 plus VAT. I've put on here the Cambridgeshire location to be confirmed. So many of you will be coming from so many different directions. I want to be flexible for those who I have on the course, so I'm flexible with where I put the location. At this moment, I'm saying Cambridgeshire simply because that's where I'm currently based, and a lot of my network is around this area. We will be doing 3-day live workshops throughout the year. The first one is just simply going to be guided by where most people, most delegates are based once we fill the course itself, fill the program. So in addition, I keep repeatedly saying that the blacktop method is a beginning. It's somewhere where we're going to transform and then take you on a journey. So once we complete those 3 days in February, we will automatically add into there 3 months of an accountability group coaching sessions. So we are able to hold you accountable. I don't mind repeating that over and over again, holding you accountable. I don't want you coming onto a 3-day program, even if you enjoy the 3-day program, and then we lose you. I want to work with you for a minimum of 3 months, preferably longer, to be able to keep guiding you, supporting you, challenging you, so that you end up in a situation where you make the deep changes required for you to become the person that you want to be, living the life that you want to be. That will be with the cohort from the February program, 3 months accountability group coaching once a month. And you can see the value on there. That's the value I would put on that if I was now running that independently away from this course, away from this program. But I'm going to include it for those who book up onto the 3-day program in February to ensure that we land this, that you land it, and you make the changes that you absolutely want to make in your life. So just to summarize, 3-day live workshop, limited spaces available. The dates that are currently available, or the dates are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of February in 2023. That venue will be confirmed on booking, and the investment that you have there, 1,500 plus VAT, is the price it's going to be for this first initial program. That price will change, and that price includes the 3-month accountability program that will follow the 3 days. Now, what I want you to do is to book on a call with me so we can discuss this in more detail. I told you a few times about the tool I use, a motivational map. So if you book on a discovery call from me, I will include a motivational map as part of that conversation. And a motivational map and a debrief is valued at £300 minimum. So we'll at least be able to help you with that. So if the blacktop method is for you, that will be our starting point. If the blacktop method is something you're curious about and want to find out more, the motivational map is yours. It's okay. We'll just go through that process. It will help you. So I will be dropping in the link to be able to book a call with me. I'd love to speak to you. I'm looking forward to speaking to you and taking you on a journey with the blacktop method so that we can make deep, meaningful change into your life, into your career, so that we can move you forward. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a joy talking to you, and I can't wait to speak to you further. Take care.